Hello guys. So we have a very special guest with us today. His name is Yousef. He's a holder of UEFA B license and futsal B license as well. He has coached the Premier Division in Poland. One team in the Premier Division. It's called Widzew. Yeah. And also coaching the Premier Division in futsal as well. AZS.
Yeah.
Warsaw. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a guy with huge experience in football. Sports analytics, coaching. He's the coach of our Con FC football team as well. So we have a lot of perspective to get from him. Yousef, welcome to this podcast.
Other than that, he speaks a lot of languages. I have seen him speaking Arabic, Italian. Last time when we were in
French, Polish.
It's
really commendable how a person from India is coming here and like being onto that kind of level. Really inspiring, man. You got to telling more about your story. How you reached Poland, how you accomplished all this.
So like, where are you coming from? And
because there are a lot of people in India who has a dream of building their career in football. Like they may not be able to play in that kind of a level, at least in some aspect of football. Yeah, like coaching, analytics, like being part of the club or something. So maybe you can give our viewers a much more perspective on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start first with your question.
Yeah.
I mean, I am from UP in India, and my family and everyone is settled in Saudi, in Riyadh. I usually go back to India every summer, so I'm quite connected. I'm quite aware of what goes on, and I've also been to all parts of the country. I would say the south, also even the east and the west. So, and I've seen the difference in the football culture, because every city I go in India, I'm just trying to see is there football happening here? Is there any kind of football? Yeah, and definitely in the south and in the east, it's quite rich over there, the amount of futsal.
Okay.
And coming back to your question, of course, in terms of, I think, the dreams of every single student, I could say, because we all start as students in India when we're young, and there is always that minimum threshold of education that you need to have to be considered not an outcast in the Indian society, from our societies. And if you try to have and mix sports with that, sports in general at a very high level requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, which these days in India, our studies also requires a lot of time and effort. And one way or the other, you have to sacrifice one thing or the other for that. And I think because of also the exposure, it's quite less. But if you ask me, the difference I have seen compared, like if I talk with, if I am hanging around people from Kerala, and the passion and the knowledge and the way you see football, and maybe if I go somewhere in other parts of India where football is just like it's followed, it's observed, but not with that much passion, I would say, I wouldn't say that I would say some parts of North India, around Delhi, around UP, over there, I think people observe football, they watch a lot of football, but there is not that level of passion or commitment to, and the deep dive to understand the knowledge. That I would say is a difference that I have seen, especially in other places.
Okay. And what about the cultural differences in coaching that you see in India and Poland?
I would say the cultural differences in terms of coaching. Immediately the first thing is the facilities and the richness of what they have, and that influences the culture a lot, because the Polish guy has a fixed time of the ground. He has the ground on a fixed particular time, and you have the Indian guys who are probably fighting for coaching football in the same place where cricket is supposed to be played or has to be played. And a lot of that has to do with the allotment for how much commitment the sports authority of that region or sports authority of that particular school is committed towards football, or more, or else committed towards cricket. Because I think we all know that, the regular meme where a maths teacher takes the PD and has to cover the portion. So in that sense, if we have such cramped schedules for classes, I'm pretty sure many of us come from schools where did we have designated grounds for different sports?
Mm, like
we didn't have it.
Yeah,
not everywhere.
That's one of the questions I need to ask you. Like, how the atmosphere actually affect the sports career? Like in India and in Poland, we know like how much the atmosphere is favorable for like football and for other sports, and how much it is affecting in India, like the atmosphere.
Yeah. Over here in Poland, I think I will still say I am really happy with the way we as Indians approach the future of our kids rather than the other countries. I mean, over here, they have a lot of trust or whatever in the system. They know that if you just put the child in the system will give a boy out or whatever. Give someone out. It will bring out a firefighter. It will bring out an accountant. It will bring out an athlete. In our country, of course, I don't think anyone would trust any sort of system where you can just put the child in. So the parents are continuously involved, and if they don't see the child being aware. So coming back really shortly, if you see the
you're
culture,
like just a question. So you're saying like if a kid grows up in Poland, the kid can become like maybe into football or volleyball. There are many options, right?
Not only sports, but also as a career. Like this system, like turns this child into someone who can do something.
There are like.
But in India, you are saying like the parents continuously have to monitor like what this guy is doing, what this child is doing, and
because they feel the need. They feel the need to. I think the parents will feel the need to see what is actually going on. If he's actually attending the classes or not, and all of that circulates around the fact if he's doing well in school.
True.
And if he's not doing well in school, then the atmosphere of a school immediately labels you as a potential outcast, as a potential threat to society, which a lot of sports persons are labeled very easily. Like he doesn't do well in class, he answers back, he has a rowdy attitude, which is quite similar to people who want to reach high levels in sports.
But coming to your like coaching career in Poland, so usually we get the feeling that Europeans are not that welcoming. In terms of like we are doing white collar jobs, there it's pretty much easy to get a job. But when it comes to football, for an Indian to be coaching them, usually we get the feeling like why should they make an Indian as the coach? So in that perspective, have you ever felt for coaching a club in Europe, has it been a challenge for you?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely spot on with that. I think there has been a lot of situations where initially, probably by the face value, they will never imagine you to be Indian. They will think, maybe someone from Turkey or someone from South America came over. And then
I thought you were from Egypt. When I saw you.
So that's one of the reasons he made it as a coach. He doesn't look Indian. If he looked Indian,
true.
I just never tell them where I'm from, and then I let them assume. You see, Brazil, for you I'm Brazilian. For you, no.
And the way he speaks Polish as well, you can't really distinguish like he's an Indian or not.
That we will be going there as well, right? We will be going there very soon. It happens a lot, but I think the one thing that really helped me, which I think every Indian should not be afraid of in general, is I think the level of my education and the intensity of my education, which I don't think they give it over here. The intensity of my education in India has allowed me to be quite fast, resilient and observant towards things. Like I went through science, so I had to do maths and physics, and because it was so competitive, I know for a fact that when I'm working even in terms of football, in terms of analytics, I need to be very sure about what I'm doing. And I think even Indians, the way we write exams, the way we have to elaborate each and every answer, the difference in writing an answer in physics and the difference in where you have to write an answer in an English paper is so different. And I've spoken with I've seen how the Europeans and their education system looks like. It does not work that way. I think the way our education spans us, the way we go through everything, it helps a lot analytically. It helps a lot in terms of trying to just sit there and grind and look for something other people can't. And that requires, I don't know, maybe a lot of attention, focus, or patience, which we as Indians would have, I would say. I think even you guys, mashallah, I don't think they know. You guys also work in very good places. You have your own life as well. So in a span that I would say, I first got into analytics, and when you show numbers and when you show statistics, that's when they trust your Indianism. When you show them numbers, they think, okay, this is the Asian guy showing numbers and showing data. So they're like, okay, that's where the relevance comes from. And then when I slowly started to combine that with talking, with experience, it helped. Obviously, there have been rooms where there was a Polish board member for a club I can't say that said, can I be honest? Is this guy and where he comes from, is that even relevant at all to what we can say? I mean, look at all of us in this room. Look at our background. That was actually just one of the board members. So just I can give an explanation. Usually board members are people who in sports environments, board members are usually people who have nothing to do with that sport. They're all about business, and they're all about the things they've done to build this club. All respect to them, but they do not get the sporting aspects of it at all. So being the analytical part of being an Indian helps a lot, I would say. In terms of
so how did you get into coaching? Like, is it from UP or from Saudi?
Actually, not even from UP, not even from Saudi.
So from Poland?
Yeah, from Poland, actually. I came over here wanting at the condition that, of course, I can chase my dream in football, but I have to finish my engineering as well. Obviously.
So you're an engineer as well?
Yeah.
Graduated,
Yeah, graduated. So I had to go through my biomedical engineering while I tried to play also football on the side, or maybe engineering on the side and play football. I don't. Yeah. So based off that, usually, and recently, I would say 2-3 years ago, I underwent horrible injuries where, of course, operations, and after recovery, I found out that I don't think it makes sense to be able to spend so much money on rehabilitation and to be able to I wasn't in a place to be able to commit so much to come back. So one of my coaches told me that, see, I don't know if I can tell you this, but you have a mind usually that understands the game more. I would say midfielders, because I played midfield. I'm sorry for taking this too football wise, but in terms of game intelligence, a lot of different positions in football actually enhances your intelligence as well. That's why I can just add a very small example. In Spain, until 13 or 12, they do not even give kids positions. They just make you play everywhere. You have to keep rotating positions. There is no, he's long, he's strong, let him play strike all the time. You have to, and Poland's doing that as well. So until
the age of 13.
Until the age of 13, the boy has no defined position, except only goalkeepers, right? But the boy has no defined position.
Still, that's the role in Spain. That's your say?
Yeah. They're always like that's why you see all the Spanish players
of football culture, right?
Yeah. So they're so what happens is from the coaching model, the grassroots till the senior level, they have explained. Even in Poland, they have it. It's called the playing model. That's like a football bible of the country itself that the federation implements, and you have to play that way. And they have a huge group of observers who go club to club, and they observe if training is also happening that way, and they attend these tournaments. You know, the under 12, under 10 tournaments. So and
Yamal must have played as a defender, midfielder, striker.
Absolutely, until the age of 13, he would have played everywhere.
Okay, that makes sense. So
I have one question. Like comparing India and Poland, or India and Europe. Like how many matches like a child should play in before the age of like 16 or maybe 12. So this varies, right? In India, I believe it might be less, and in European countries, these kids or children play football more matches they play more, not only like academic level or like like more tournament levels, and so this also helps these kids or like the children from Europe to achieve more.
That's actually a brilliant question, because that question shows a lot of difference in terms of the Indian aspect. I'll just give you one statistic which I have, because it's comparing cricket and football. It can change, because recently what I've seen is a state board I'm talking about a state board. So this is Kerala State Board, Tamil Nadu State Board, Maharashtra State Board.
Okay.
BCCI conducts almost BCCI helps a state board to conduct per year 120 state level matches. 120 state level matches in cricket are happening. So I'm talking state level, right? Which means Trivandrum versus, I don't know, Munnar, Calicut, which is a state level match. So 120 official state level matches happen in a single calendar year in cricket. In football in India, it's in your own state. I'm talking in Kerala, right? Officially, I'm talking 11 versus 11. Because I know a lot of 6 and 7s happens, but that's not backed by federation. That is not backed by anyone. There is no party to back that. 11 versus 11 is 25 or 30, 25 to 30. That would have been increased now because they've changed a little bit of the model.
It is the same case in every state?
No, I gave an example of Kerala because I know that Kerala does follow football well. It's one of the cradles of the, I would say, so Kolkata, Punjab, Kerala.
So cricket matches are happening 4x extra than
that's minimum.
Matches,
you see the difference, 120 to almost 30. So like 120 state level organized cricket matches and that.
So when these people play less football matches and they are getting less exposure and
experience,
experience and exposure,
That's why your question was brilliant. The exact answer is the amount of actual games happening.
But if the Indian players do get those amount of matches, do you think India can play at that kind of a level?
Obviously not. That just increasing the matches wouldn't help.
Yeah.
So
what would you call like the main reason why India is not performing at that top level?
That first, I mean, what categorizes top level for you? I don't know.
I'm saying like World Cup level,
At least we have to win Asian Cup.
Okay. No, that's fine, dude.
See, that's true. Like,
so 1.5 billion people, you have to see that, and still we cannot make any impact in football.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the example, right? You have the 1.5 million, and then you show
billion,
and then you have Croatia with less population than Delhi, who are, I would say, they will never stop producing brilliant players over year after year after year. The difference is definitely in the amount of infrastructure that is there for kids there. I'll put my emphasis again. It's with kids. It's with the kids, and that's how you start. From at least till 15, a kid should at least, I would say, there is definitely a minimum threshold by the Spanish Federation where they have this, where, if we want the kid at least by the age of 0 till 15, they would have played at least 600 to 700 matches. Matches, I mean, there is a referee there. The result is put somewhere online, and that result is tracked by a league. Those kind of matches. And with an experience of 600 matches in so many different positions, the player immediately grows.
Okay.
And the difference is that in India recently, the Barcelona Academy is now slowly retreating. They're closing slowly.
They closed,
So Barcelona Academy in India.
Yeah.
There was an academy and they closed it recently.
Is it based in North India?
Everywhere now.
Okay.
Every
Mumbai.
state. Yeah.
Okay.
So do you know why these clubs, like these academies, are closed?
Yeah.
Because when they start this academy, they have a vision. Like they have some some things to do, and now they are closing it because of they are not achieving it.
Yeah. Academies have one single purpose: to give a player at a top level. If your academy is not able to give a player at a level that is 2 steps higher than you, if your academy is not producing a player that manages to go through the ranks at 2 levels higher than currently where you are, you are doing something wrong. The academy is doing something wrong, or there is just not talent or interest of that sport in that region, or it's not coming out. So even here, I think
I have a question.
Yeah.
Before that, who is funding these academies? Is it the Barcelona board or is it the Indian government?
With Barcelona,
Okay.
I think it's definitely with the Barcelona Foundation.
Okay.
But they're definitely working with the Indian government, because what happens is with Barcelona, they attract more money.
Okay.
And the funding is also quite itself, because I know personally a Bollywood TV actor who actually came to Poland recently. He himself told his son plays there, so it also depends on the fees, the amount of money that they get, because I'm pretty sure in a place like Mumbai, I don't think they will have problem with the fees. Even if they raise the fees, they can charge the as much amount of money as they can for the kids to play there. So these academies are quite self-generating.
Okay.
And the way they get money back is by signing those kids, and when they are able to sell them somewhere. And if that's not coming back, then the academy has to close. They do that in Poland.
So it's kind of business.
It's business, but at the same time, they're making football players. Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is like, even if we build that kind of an infrastructure in India, develop the academies, there's no use. Like
no,
like
definitely.
Citing the example of Barcelona Academy closing down, that shows you like football probably because of less potential they've closed down.
Yeah, less potential, or you would also have to check what kind of coaching was happening, how were the sessions, or was there an actual proper coaches? Because they could have done is they could have told one of their Barca coaches, like, take a sabbatical in India and go there and train some local coaches and take them and help the kids. But if there were one or two top level coaches who know exactly how to get the boys out and who know exactly how much the kids need to do when they need to play, then it's fine. Also, the other thing is, it could have possibly been that there is probably in Mumbai there definitely is in Mumbai. I mean, there has to be definitely more reasons why it closed down than whatever they're telling us online. One of the reasons why many of these academies that you think will not generate or the players are not coming out is also because the caliber and the level of games happening. So if Mumbai Academy plays a match with a local school team in a tournament, and if the kids are playing the same level of low-level kids, those kids are not going to improve their talent. There needs to be the same level of rivalry and nemesis. I don't like to say that example, but maybe if you check, maybe that's the contributing reason why PSG aren't able to step up. It's just a school of thought. It might not be real, but because PSG play with teams that are so subpar below the level that they are, they're not used to that intense level of competition week in, week out, every month. And that's why when it goes till there,
the Champions League level,
they're not able to match it despite of all the quality they have. Because it's not in repetition, it's not automatic to them. So if the kids are not playing with an intense level rival as well, or if at least not a rival as good as them, then there's no point. You can have a diamond in the rough. Like, you can have a Sahal Abdul Samad playing in Mumbai and he will never bloom out. Someone really has to take him, drag him and put him somewhere else. And then the purpose goes away, because then the credit doesn't go to Barcelona Academy, the credit goes to the place where he was put away.
Okay, Yousef, so from your perspective, what does the future of Indian football look like? Because I've heard that FIFA has started projects to develop their academies in India, starting huge projects and stuff. So what do you think about the future?
Also, Yousef, why nobody thought about, like, in 50s, 40s, 60s, like, why the governments didn't try to invest into football? Like, we recently
what
started.
What is the politics behind that, basically?
Like,
what do you think?
Even if it is Congress, BJP, like, if you...
even
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, obviously, we can't speak on the big level of the Congress and BJP and those kind of platforms. I mean, the insane politics. But there's something interesting to see. The president of AIFF is from BJP and the vice president is from Congress. So, do you really expect two fiercely rivalry ruling parties with a president and vice president, do you expect them to talk with each other so regularly and come to a single conclusion?
Never.
Like, do you think the suggestion of the BJP
will be egoic?
and like, I get that, because actually the AIFF comes under the public. It's a public job, so the opposition party also gets to choose one of their candidates inside. So there's not a monopoly. But
so it's like a democratic election for the AIFF board.
Yeah, it happens everywhere. Like the opposition party this year in India, the India Alliance and the BJP will get to talk between who gets to be the general of Indian Army, right? Okay. That's how it works. So that's the same thing in football. And the same thing with, India, like the BCCI chairman is there, Jay Shah. It's like it's like a political decision to appoint a person who they sees a fit candidate. So both sides need to agree that, okay, we see him as a fit candidate. And that's the one situation. That's like a baseline situation. I would suggest everyone to go follow a channel called Chak De Football, which is I don't know how long he's gonna survive. I don't know how long there won't be anything against this channel, because he recently did a podcast with the coach of India who was fired.
I have seen that.
Igor Stickman.
Oh, okay.
And the coach was talking about how the political leader behaved when Arsene Wenger came to India. That's the channel.
Yeah, exactly. He was. I think Igor Stickman said that's what he said. He said that we were trying to have a conference, and the president of AIFF was busy with taking pictures with Arsene Wenger and everything. Now, I think if the man who is the end all and be all of the man who represents Indian football, the coach of the Indian national football team, in some countries it's the president of the country, by the president of the football federation, by the way. So if that man has so much negative thoughts to say about the system, because he was right there, then we really have to see as to what actually the system is created. Because there is, in football, he was talking something about the technical director of the team. The technical director of the team is the one who can boss around with the coach. He would have the right to tell the coach, I don't want to play this way, we don't want to play this way, this is not how we do things in India. Because the coach these days, because of so many board members, all these people around who get to say all these things, the coach is just a person who is working for them. They can say, I don't want him to play, or can't have him like that, and the coach could really be in crossroads. And in a sense, the politics as well. But coming back generally to your question as to what is the basic problem of the Indian football, how do we see it, how can we develop it, inside that Chak De Football podcast as well. It's not a podcast actually, they have interviews. It's like kind of a news channel where every big person is talking inside. So if the top coaches of a premier Indian football level and previously top positioned people are talking that way about the structure, then there's definitely something wrong. Recently we have right now in India, which is Vision 2047, which is implemented by the Indian government and AIFF. And I will try to say the facts in what they have actually, so our viewers will know exactly what there is one thing which is Vision 2047, which is the complete development of Indian football. They expect that by 2047, India will be I think it's quite absurd, but the Vision 2047 is that in the 100th year of India's independence, India will be among the top 4 footballing nations in Asia.
Not in the world.
And one of the top leagues in Asia.
They should dream higher, isn't it?
That's a long time.
Then they can become Asia's best.
How long is that?
But
it's 20 years, more than 20 years.
We as people, I would say that, I don't know, maybe our kids will be able to see India in a World Cup, right? Based off that, our kids will be able to see India win something. India win a major tournament. I consider major tournaments as for us like Asian Cup, or at least an Indian club. You never know, because there are clubs where, I don't know, Uzbekistan or even
in Egypt,
Oman or Iraq, in Egypt. No, Egypt is completely different. They come under Africa, so they are completely different. Like the model is still, we'll be going back to Egypt because it's very interesting how as India we can see something what they have. Sorry, I forgot completely.
So you're saying this
Vision 2047.
No. So their Vision 2047 is with Asia.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. They had something called Target 2026.
Okay.
And it's official. This is there.
When did they plan that? Like it was
2013.
2013.
So they uploaded that.
Okay.
Target 2026 was qualification for FIFA under 17 and under 21 World Cups for both men and women on merit, not by host, on merit. Top 8 in Asia women's football and top 10 in Asia in men's football. 2026. We are now in 2024.
What age?
Huh? No. Senior men's.
Senior. Okay.
Yes. I will check because the rankings keep change. Current Indian Asian football rankings. Because they change a lot. They change on a lot of things. Because if I had it even taken a screenshot, I don't know, a couple of days ago, they would change. India is 23.
In Asia.
In Asia. In Asia.
In like world ranking, what's our position?
124 something.
That's too like.
Yeah, India 22.
What's the rank of North Korea?
Okay, so 6 hours ago they were 20. They become 22nd.
You have to check that. North Korea. What's their rank? North Korea's rank.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I see some teams like Iran, all these teams are really playing well, and we are such a big country, very well developed, and we still cannot reach
higher level.
But we're not. That's not our national sport, right? Okay.
Not on sport. Not on football.
So you think it has to do with genetics?
No.
No.
Have you seen the match between India and Argentina in 1982 or 83? I was like, oh, this team was really playing well, Indian team. And when I look at the current team, I was like, what happened? Like,
so
because
we failed to catch up.
No,
Please go ahead.
No, I was saying that the other teams put a lot of effort and we actually don't. That's what I think. Because I've seen that people training their kids from very basic level and
you mean that way? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you're talking about players.
No.
Okay.
From very basic level, because one of my office mate, this guy has kids who are like 5'4", and they just go to these football clubs.
It's a part of his routine to drop his kids to the club.
Every day he just jump out from the office and just go to these clubs for dropping the kids from the kindergarten or whatever. But I don't think that someone from India have such setups of dropping kids who are 4 or 5 into these clubs or somewhere where they train kids.
Some people are doing that.
Some people are doing, but it's not generally practiced. But here we can see more people.
Yes. Like 90% of people.
But we won't be able to change that because we have even kids from families where there is in India it's quite complicated, right? You have joint families, someone has to drop, or like you have one motorbike for 3 people and stuff like that. That wouldn't
responsibility
a lot. And maybe our generation of fathers will hopefully try to have this holistic development for our kids where we'll try to see if they can do this and that, because you can now take genetic tests to see which sports you can actually be good at. So I don't think anyone is bad at any sports. Like you just probably haven't got your groove yet.
Do people people are trained to do that? Like when the kids grow up, they are trained to take the DNA test or genetic test?
No. It's just something recently that's come along where you can find out.
But does it actually work to understand what sport you're really good at?
Yeah. So what it does is it takes your body composition. It calculates the probability of, and it sees what kind of limbs you have, because some people have those kind of knock knees, some people have bent knees, some people have flat footed, and some people have very broad shoulders, like naturally. Some people
better for swimming.
People have long hands, and so those kind of things really help to decide what kind of sport. Like some people have very short torso or like calves like Grealish or whatever. Those kind of things, they have some kind of a metric where they see that in the biomechanically, I am saying, not biomechanically, this sport is more suitable for you.
Yeah, based on their body type.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were coming back on the football thingy, right? Like you said, with the dedication and with the vision to what actually needs to happen. So what you're talking about, what you said about the Argentina thing, right? You said. So what happened was in 1980.
Have you seen that match?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I've followed one of the players.
It is still on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah.
It is still on YouTube.
Yeah. I even saw I saw the matches. Then I found out that there's a movie coming out of all of those things that
about
happened.
that. Okay.
I think before.
Okay.
I'm not sure. When did we become Asian champions in football? Because we won when we won the Asian Games in football. Exactly. And I'm so sorry that as a coach I actually don't know the fact, because dates.
What year was it?
Yeah, let's leave out the dates. Continue with that.
Perfect. So we did become Asian champions. We beat Japan. We beat South Korea. We beat big countries along the way, and that was a showcase of character, because in those days there was character, and then there was always the tactical element involved into how you can try and change things, tweak things and everything. Now football is way more complicated than that, because at this level it takes a massive amount of group of individuals and people, and a system needs to be in place that allows things to be good and perfect. Now we at 1980 we would have been at the same level or a little bit closer level to Argentina. Maybe if we played that well, we would have been. But then when the game changed, when things went better and better, all these other countries, they caught up and we stayed there.
In terms of what?
In terms of league, in terms of matches, in terms of the quality of the coaching, in terms of the amount of sessions the kids have, in terms of the existing academies, in terms of the official games that are conducted, more and more of them start happening, and we probably stayed the same. Or maybe, because if you're saying 1980s, then that's probably when India won the first World Cup. So then the attention really shifted towards cricket. So maybe football wasn't that ready-made. And India as a nation was also finding its identity with cricket, which I think is beautiful. I think Harsha Bhogle released something where the born of Indian cricket, the culture and everything. What cricket has done to our nation is perfect. It's very good. It's amazing. We are in the map, and you can see how dominant we are as people. And genetics wouldn't play a difference, because then what happens is in genetics you could see maybe Australians are more aggressive or more better than us, but I think we also have it.
Right.
Okay. So I have one question, like if someone from India or Kerala want to play in Europe or come to fulfill their dreams, what is their options? Like if there is some kind of visas, or recently I heard our Kerala Blasters, the Kerala team, their junior team was coming to Warsaw and playing with some clubs here. So
perfect.
So those kids were coming here and playing with some European teams. So how a player or a team can come here and play in European matches, or if an individual want to come here and play to get some international exposure, and how can they do it?
Yeah.
Is there some kind of is there some kind of visas or some kind of transferring kind of someone can apply and come?
Yeah, there are those visas. They exist. A normal work permit, basically. He is going to come in a very basic work permit, and the football club will then apply for his work permit to play as a footballer, and then they will be paying this person's taxes or something. Actually, just sharing an example, recently one of the Archon players, I wouldn't name because he has to also find his club or whatever. Hopefully he gets it done. One of the Archon players went for a trial at a club, at a Polish club in Warsaw, and the club actually wanted him. They liked him. And then the club asked if he's a student. And he said he of course he wasn't a student. He came here over a normal work permit, aside from football. And the club said, it's going to be very hard for us to have you as not a student, because then we have to pay taxes and everything. The main difference is in Europe, a player outside of the EU considers under the same criteria of taxation and the same criteria of registration. So you have a Brazilian player and an Indian player and a Japanese player and an Egyptian player, one from Africa. They all come under the same category.
Okay.
Outside the EU.
Non-EU.
Non-EU. So which kind of a player do you expect the clubs to take? I mean, barely. I don't think a club is going to take a Indian person from, because it's not something to be offended about. It's just the level. You could say that someone from the second or third league in Brazil will be at a better level from the first division of India. Yeah. And a Brazilian in the third, fourth division is better than a first division, Premier Division Indian, right? Okay. And that will show a massive difference, because then
when someone from India or myself is applying for to get a place in club, there will be much more applicants, and there will be preference for such people from other countries.
Yeah, there will be rarely anything unless
so the competition is high.
Yeah, unless they are through these agencies. There is this Genoa agency where this person who's the president of it, Maurice Sparks, he takes a couple of Indians through his power and through his connections, and
so
he gets
what is the agency?
Genoa Futsal Agency. Genoa Football.
Football agency.
Ishan Pandita who's recently played for Jamshedpur FC. He played for the national team couple of games. Ishan Pandita went to Deportivo Leganes when they were in La Liga. So he was training there. We are not sure if he trained with the first team or the second team, but he was part of the club. Okay. And he got through via Genoa Academy, which he was.
This is based in Poland or EU, like basically?
EU based. They take them from Spain, and but it involves a lot of money that the parents have to pay. I think it's gonna be really hard if you don't pay, because it's a rich academy. You pay them, they develop you. So it's gonna be really hard for someone who. There are ways. If you ask me, one of the way I can simply say is not officially, but it's legal. You come here as a student. Yeah. You come here as a student. You work for a university. And then while studying for the university, you can try to look for clubs. You'll get trials. I mean, of course, you can always get help from other people. I'm constantly helping Indian players and even Arab players get trials here and there. And then the club, because you're students, the taxes are a little different. Yeah. And then they get to even register you as a non-EU player, and then they don't actually have to pay anything for you. So the money they have for you, if they want to pay you at whatever level, then they can pay it straight to you, because then they don't lose money. They don't, clubs, if they have to pay taxes, they will rather pay taxes for a Brazilian player.
And you can apply for a visa under the agreement between the club and agency. Will they give work permit?
Once they are really in the place in the club, then they can get visa with the
once, that is when the club is ready to have you full time, right? Yeah. That is when the club is ready to have you full time, which will happen if you are really a standout player, like you are really producing. What happens in Europe is they will try I'm talking about lower levels, by the way, just to let you all know, this doesn't happen in top levels. In top levels, it's very good, it's fluid.
They will pay the taxes, definitely.
So if we have an Indian who is at that level where the clubs in EU will be like, I don't mind going there, I don't mind paying. The club doesn't mind paying, and they understand that we want him to be there. Like, I don't know how some teams do with I think Aubameyang was with Gabon, and the last player of Gabon was Aubameyang's dad, a good player. And when some club did see Aubameyang as a player from Gabon who flourished, who came over, maybe he had a French passport as well, which helped him, and then he chose to represent Gabon instead. But that helps when you see a player from a very small nationality. And in football, some team, they have that culture. Let's take this guy, because he's probably going to work hard more than.
There are some players like that. If Drogba came from Ivory Coast, it was like that.
Okay, so the best option.
Mo Salah, simple as a Salah, right? He put Egypt on the map in terms of football recently. There were players, but Mo Salah really put Egypt.
Anyway, Aubameyang has signed for a Saudi club.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, definitely.
Yesterday, I think.
Different. Yes, yeah?
Yesterday.
Which club?
There is a new club that Nacho signed, I think.
Ettifaq.
Ettifaq. It's a red jersey. It's a new club. I think they just got promotion from second league. I'm not sure, but they are buying a lot of players this season. It's a red jersey.
Ettifaq has a red jersey, but that's where Gerrard was.
No, this is not Gerrard's club, I guess. I have to check.
Yeah, no problem. That's fine. So, I think if we can come to a easy for the viewers, for potential Indian players who want to come to Europe, one of the things is ego stigma. I think in that podcast also it was discussed. And I'm saying those things because these are people at the top level who have seen the top best Indian players day in, day out. So, not a lot of Indian players will be ready to go to the limelight of being the best players in India and having the comfort of playing in their home country and go play at a very lower level in Europe, because with all due respect, that is what their level will be when they go there in the start. I don't think anyone's going to take them. No, they'll get into a third league, right? Third division. Okay. I can say third division of some countries, good countries, Indian players, second division. And even over there, they have to face, I would say, a lot of challenges in a sense where I know they're going to be alone, probably because the money that they're going to be paid at, they won't be able to have everyone around them or their family. They would need to have a good financial background. So an Indian player who plays in the ISL with all that limelight, and then you expect him to go to a third division in Spain, and he has to play there, he has to suffer. Yeah, where no one approaches the matches, and he has to play there, and he has to suffer, and the clubs are going to kill him if he makes one mistake, because those clubs are playing for survival. And then he has to also play with that stigma, oh, he's from India, why did you get someone from India? I mean...
Ashik Kurinian went to play for Valencia. I think he was training in low level team, like for Valencia B team or something. I don't know. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're brilliant. I'm still saying, for me, the way I saw Sahel Abdul Samad, I was like, there is an Indian like an Iniesta or something out there. When I was just watching, I was so, like, it warms my heart to see him play or see him just exist. Like, there is an Indian who plays like that, who does like that. But
Faris used to play with him.
Yeah.
Get
some contacts, man. We'll get him here to play for Legia, Nah.
So this is the Saudi club. I don't know how to pronounce that. This is in Arabic.
Qadsiya, Oh yeah, recently. Yeah, so, but in Saudi it's different, because in Saudi actually...
I think they got promoted recently, right?
Yeah. So but in Saudi, these promotions don't matter, because the entire league is owned by the royal family, and the royal family themselves fund these clubs separately, where all the money that the Saudi ministry has, they fund these clubs, because they don't want that Nasser, Hilal and all that. They're trying to have the balance in all clubs, and that's how the Saudi level gets better. Because when
they're creating competition with their teams, like their own teams, and they're creating competition.
It'll be just like PSG dominating the League One.
Yeah, they don't want that. They don't want that.
Yeah, that's a good strategy to be honest. Like they have Al Hilal and Al Nasser as a top competitive teams.
Yeah, Al Ahli in Jeddah as well. Ittihad as well. Actually, in Saudi there were 4 big clubs, and they are 4. I mean, Al Hilal is, if you ask me, they are the Real Madrid of Asia. Al Hilal is the Real Madrid of Asia. Okay. It's a surprise how they haven't won so many. I think they've lost 4 finals in this decade. They've lost 4 AFC finals. So if they were able to win that as well, they would add more onto their list. But one of the biggest clubs in Asia in general is Al Hilal, because in Japan, Urawa and all the Urawa Red Diamonds, and they're all playing each other, and even in Jeonbuk Hyundai in Korea. But the balance changes a lot in Japan.
Okay.
Like sometimes they are very low, sometimes they're very high. Hilal has always been there in the semi-finals, in the finals. You have them. They are...
Who has more fans? You you lived in Saudi, so you know it well.
No, it's definitely Hilal. I think recently, maybe because of Ronaldo, there have been suddenly a lot of Al Nassr fans. But if you see that, I think Hilal is the club that represents Saudi abroad.
Okay.
So before all of this happened, before Ronaldo even came, you would know Al Hilal definitely. You wouldn't know other clubs, you would definitely know Al Hilal.
We had jerseys with Al Hilal logos and Etisalat or some car logos. Yeah. So I remember in my
Yousef, tell me now more about like football analytics. Yeah, you're working for what company? In football analytics?
I'm working for Respo Vision, which is a sports analysis based company, which actually works through the broadcast of the matches using AI to generate match reports.
Okay. So you can tell our viewers more about like
how
what football analytics,
like?
how it helps the coaches,
Yeah,
how it helps to build the club and so on. Yeah.
definitely. So all of you can just go to FIFAtrainingcenter.com, which is a FIFA-based portal, an open information portal created by FIFA, where you can see match reports that are generated by FIFA for FIFA-based competitions. So you can see the match reports in detail for the previous World Cup.
Okay.
And you can see and understand the kind of statistics and tactical nomenclature that is used to understand football in a very deeper sense.
So is that all generated by AI?
Yeah, yes, these days, yes. And thanks to AI, we're able to actually even do this because probably there would, in some cases, there are people who are manually annotating in a sense, where the match comes and it's pushed through AI trackers, wherein definitely you have ball tracking, you have player tracking, and you set up the geometries of the field. And then if the ball, let's say if I am attacking here, and if this is my opponent's goal is here and the ball is here, so then this is the build up for the opponent, program midfield, final third, and those kind of tracking I'm saying it at a very basic level.
So for every match I will generate these stats, right?
Yeah.
So what's the role of a football analyst, like as a person working in that field?
Yeah, role of a football analyst is to see the match report, and try to understand how a particular team plays. So if I have the match report of Spain versus England of the Euro, and if I am an analyst for a journalist company, if I'm a private analyst where I want to see and sell the information to someone, if I'm an analyst for Spain or England, or if I'm an analyst just for UEFA or someone else, where they want to see what is the trend happening these days. Because we probably will reach a point, recently a couple of years ago, we were in a point where everyone was just trying to play like Guardiola in the tiki-taka sense. A lot of them. And now, thank God, we're coming back to a normal time where you have teams who don't mind playing two strikers, who don't mind playing like Real Madrid.
You don't like tiki-taka strategy?
No, I don't think that I will be at a position, because I haven't been a head coach of a big team yet. I am working as an assistant. So my job is to make sure whatever is the philosophy of a Guardiola or a Klopp or a Tuchel, I need to implement his philosophy into the players. And those are people who worked many years as assistants, and then they formed their ideas, and then when they got the top level jobs, that's when they realized this is how I want to play. Honestly, if you ask me, as a person, as someone who played, I've seen teams, I've seen players. The Guardiola model is very, very specific. It can only happen in clubs like Man City, or when you have the ability of having Barca, when the academy happens, and it's for very specific situations, right? I mean,
those kind of players,
that kind of money. And football sometimes is just chaos. It's actually chaos. Sometimes it's very planned, and then sometimes it's just chaotic, and you have to rely on the players at that top level, because of their abilities. They're not because the coach told him to pass right, the coach told him to pass left. Coming back to analytics, of course, my job is to understand how the team plays and what are the consistencies. So if you give me a single match report, which of course if you go to a FIFA training center, I can actually open a small report in the iPad and show it right now, if it's okay with you guys or whatever.
Just to see how it works.
Thank God I came prepared for it.
Do you have any specific portal to watch the match, or do you watch the match just like us? Or
just like all of us, broadcast. We get it from the broadcast, and the AI does everything from the broadcast. Actually interesting. When the cameraman point the camera somewhere else while the game is happening, actually the data is not being taken or tracked. It's being assumed.
Okay. At that time, even the
AI predicts the data.
AI predicts it.
Okay.
So sometimes the cameraman is actually zooming at some random pretty woman for a very long time, and the game is happening. That data is not being tracked.
Okay.
Unless you have a camera installed in the stadium, those tactical cameras which don't move. They are the only purpose that it has is to gather data. Clubs have it. The top level clubs, and they have it.
So that's why like the managers send some scouts to watch over the matches here, like to track the off-camera movements, like you mentioned, which are not tracked.
So what is the company you are working for, Yousef?
Respovision.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it based in Poland, right? It is based in Poland, right?
Yeah, it's a Warsaw-based analytics company which actually does analysis everywhere. Like they have they generated match reports for Euro, Copa America, Saudi League, Denmark under 16, Japanese League, Polish divisions.
And you are selling these reports, or you are selling analytics, or how?
So we're selling the reports if the club need them. And we're also selling the understanding of the report itself, which is the analysis.
I remember you telling that you were Bayern Munich was your client, once?
Yeah.
Okay.
Arsenal, yeah.
So, like, can you tell an instance where any of the club, you produce like some actionable recommendation for them that helped them make the changes, like which was viewable?
Yeah. So, one observation that you have from one of the match reports is the section of the player runnings and the physical section, and you can see the heat map of a player. So the heat map is when the player, you see all the regions the player has worked the most, and when you see the heat maps of the 4 or the 3 Arsenal defenders, you get to see who likes to be in what region more often than the other, and to combine that to give something concrete to Bayern Munich, because I don't think these top level clubs and the managers, they will have the time to see all of that. You need to give them something concrete or suggest them something.
Okay.
So what happens is you combine the heat maps, then you take the, let's say, player activeness. That's a statistic which calculates geometrically the angle a player has for passing. So let's say if Fares's hand is a player who has the ball, and this is an opponent, and I am Fares's partner, and I stand here, so the angle to pass me is less, and as soon as the opponent goes like this, the angle is more to pass me. So that they calculate a statistic which is how available a player is to even be passed, because there are players who complain, I don't get the ball, I don't get passes, no one passes me the ball. You can go check the player activeness and see
how many matches you have to watch to get those kind of data.
Every match, right? Every match has its single. Every single match, every single phase, like in this high, mid, and low. So that once you combine that, then you combine the speed of the players. So I know for a fact that in Arsenal, Saliba is very fast.
Yes.
But Kivior is a little slow. And I saw the difference in how Zinchenko heat map is, Kivior heat map is, how often Zinchenko sprints and how often Kivior sprints. I gave that sense of information to Bayern where they can calculate it on it. And if you see the second leg or the first leg, those goals came from the side of Kivior, where the unbalance was, where the uncertainty is. So because you see Saliba and please name an Arsenal defender for me. Ben White? Anyone? I don't know.
What was
a good one,
name?
Yeah.
Saliba is the one.
Saliba and Ben White. Yeah. If Saliba and Ben White on that right side, they're good. They're solid. They don't lose a lot of balls. They are good. They win all their tackles and everything. But there is always a difference in data on the base right to left. And that always helps.
Okay.
That always.
So you're saying you gave Bayern these data before the second leg or
before the first leg?
First leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you believe that helped them to win the match?
Absolutely. That helped them to win the match. They read it, they capitalized on it, and then they made something of their own as well. Okay. I don't think.
So who are you in contact with? Like who contacts you? From Bayern Munich.
Yeah, so I'm the analytic right now, and the contact with Bayern Munich is by the product manager of my company, who is my boss. So he's the one who has the responsibility of the product itself.
Okay.
Because in this kind of cases, the data, intellectual property rights comes into question.
Okay.
And I don't have any intellectual property to anything that I work on with my company.
Okay.
Unless I have their permission to show it.
Yousef, if you don't mind, can you tell me how much are they charging for selling these data to clubs?
It actually varies a lot. Like it depends on the clubs. I mean, selling this data, it can range easily from a couple of €1,000 to even 100, 200, 300 euros. It depends how much time it took to generate the match. It also depends on how much hours it takes for me to generate the report, or how quick they want it. Because the company also would like to get the revenue out of the hours I've spent on making that report, generating that report. Although we have a normal threshold that you have to do it in this amount of time.
Also, the clubs ask you like, we need a specific heat map or something from about this player. Do they ask you something like that?
Yes, a lot.
They have their own requirements, like a brief that they give you, yeah?
Yeah. They do a lot. They're like, just send us this, because we don't have the time to see the whole 32-page report. Once again, you can all go back to that FIFA training center. It's a 40-page match report with every single statistic possible that's calculated.
Show us what you have.
Yeah, perfect. In the meanwhile...
So you work from home, or you...
Usually it's both. It's a job that can work from home. But because football involves a lot of brainstorming, a lot of talking, a lot of showing, and there is sometimes a lot of micromanagement involved. So we have to constantly give updates. We are here, something is wrong. Because sometimes in analytics what happens is, so the minimum threshold, sometimes you see a player that his max speed is 46 kilometers per hour, which makes no sense. No athlete runs beyond 37 kilometers per hour. Mbappe as well. So sometimes that happens. Or sometimes you see a player like, I don't know, Van Dijk running 35, 36 kilometers per hour. He's not that fast.
Yeah.
You know something's wrong. You inform them. The report is generated again.
So who is your favorite head coach?
My favorite head coach right now?
Guardiola.
No.
Mourinho.
It depends. I mean, I admire a lot what Mourinho has done because of how much he has done on what he's had in his hand, right? I just admire he's had very less in his hand and then he's made something special out of that.
Okay. Can you give me an example for which club? Like
definitely Porto and what he did with Inter. Like with Porto, I think that was actually a very good team.
Yeah.
But what he did with Inter and the way he made them play at that time with all the clubs existing around, you know, how he managed to actually frustrate Guardiola.
Okay.
And he managed to dethrone a lot of the aspects that they are training in. And then I think that is definitely special.
Your favorite? No, that is not your favorite.
No, yeah, favorite in terms of as a personality, what he does, what he is, but a favorite coach where I understand the system recently, and that maybe you think because they're successful or because they're not, but I actually like Ange Postecoglou a lot, Tottenham's manager.
Okay.
That's only because he's the only Asian manager in the Premier League. He came from Asia. He was the coach of Australia. He coached Australia, and he has now broken through this barrier of Asian someone from Asia coaching at a top level. Because we consider Australia big, but I don't think an Australian coach suddenly would have a big profile.
Okay, so back to football analytics.
Yeah, please. Sure.
Like for a student planning to like pursue this course and make a career out of it, do you think that a well-structured course is necessary? Or like you didn't do any course for this, yeah?
No.
Okay. But there are like different courses offered by universities as well, yeah?
Yes, and I would say those kind of courses in terms of universities and everything, to be fairly honest, football is a very saturated field. Sometimes they will ask, you don't have any experience, but then a lot of people don't even understand what experience is. Some people say experience is that kind of a degree, that kind of a background, because you call them purist. In IT also there are many of these people who are purist, right? If you didn't come from a CS background, if you changed, they don't understand that. And then you have these kind of people who just believe in raw experience. Like if you weren't there, if you didn't get your hands dirty, if you weren't a player, or if you weren't there in the club, I don't trust that. So in terms of courses, I do not recommend anyone to do all these kind of analytics courses or whatever, because there is enough free material out there for you to deep dive and learn how things work yourself. There are tactical analytical channels on YouTube in every language. There is the FIFA training center, which allows you to understand what is being taken, how the top level clubs operate. And now based off all of these documentaries on Amazon, on Netflix, of how the top level clubs work, you can see the daily working cycle of a club. You can see so in Poland recently, there was the Polish champion, Jagiellonia Białystok.
Okay.
They uploaded one of their not a web series like on YouTube or whatever, they uploaded something. And while the camera panned out to their entire chart, their entire schedule.
Okay.
And it was there for a while. And then, obviously, I took a screenshot of it. Some other people took a screenshot of it. And then...
So daily schedule, like how the team has to prepare.
And the exercises, what they're doing, what time, from where. It's like a whole chart of the entire...
It's supposed to be secret, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to them if they want to show it. If they don't want to show it, I would not want others to see it, because in sports, it's the barest of margins that get you there. So if I'm competing at this, if there's something that my rivals will know, and then they get better at it, and that actually costs my own success with it, some of them don't. But like maybe some of them are very comfortable. They're like, that's fine, take whatever you want.
Maybe they purposely did it to think. No.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, if Mourinho can hide in a laundry basket for just a match. So I'll give you an example of the reports on how they're like. I'm just trying to load it because the version is actually very, very raw. So what happens here is it
we can display it on the screen here when we upload it.
Sure. So here, so I'll show it to you guys so that you have it on the screen. What happens here is there's this one thing that is called average positions, right? And this is one statistic which shows the average position of a team, how they actually were. So if I go here, if I deep dive, I see these are actually supposed to be the wingers. But when I see averagely, they were all inside, which means that the width of the field, there's only this person. So if I'm the coach of Spain, I'm going to tell Inaki Williams and maybe Carvajal, you both go forward, because there's going to be a very good 2 versus 1 opportunity here. Just one example. There's another one which shows.
Is it from which matches that stuff?
These are Polish league matches. Okay. I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I can even show you the European games. This is the first one that actually opened towards me, which is fine because I think our users definitely would love to see what is going around in the Euro, right? So I think based off that, so you know what? In the meantime, you guys wanted to ask about the Polish language.
Yeah.
Before going to that, like, can I ask you a simple question? Like, who is the most underrated head coach?
Underrated head coach, right?
In Europe, okay.
In European leagues, or like a national team.
In leagues.
I need to know who is coaching where first of all. Underrated coach. You can't say Ten Hag because he gets the credit now after winning the FA Cup.
Arteta?
I don't know. Actually, I think he gets enough credit. He is an elite level manager. Some people consider him good. Some people consider him not. One of the Unai Emery.
Yeah, that's true.
I cannot tell you
he has won multiple titles with Sevilla, I think, right?
Yeah, but with everyone. I mean, he took...
But he couldn't do anything with Arsenal.
With Arsenal? Yeah, which is to show at what position Arsenal was at that time, that a man who has had success everywhere he's been, he couldn't do something with Arsenal. That's probably the same thing Mourinho with Tottenham, right? As the only club he didn't win something with. But Unai Emery doesn't probably get the elite level of credit he deserves. It's because he is not able to operate where a lot of limelight is, right? All of his success is on a very small basis. Like he took Aston Villa to the Champions League, or he won the Europa League with these many teams, and that's not in the massive limelight because I don't know. We don't talk about it that much. People don't talk about it that much. But I would say an elite level, a very good level manager are people who are able to take like just barely anything in their hands and then they make something very special out of it. Right. Spanish national team, I would say. I mean, it's
so
brilliant.
is this the final?
Yeah, that's the Euro final.
Okay.
So
this is what you've created after the final.
Company, right? Yeah.
Respo Vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the final where, so one of the statistics here which is player team compactness and player zone of control. So these are just mathematical measurements in terms of meters as to how far and compact the team is. Because now in football it's so common that they have made metrics, and those metrics are defined. Like if your team is 10 meters, the distance from your goalkeeper to your last defender, if it's 40 meters, it means you are very high.
Okay.
If you are 36, 34 meters, you're very high. And now analytics is at such a intense point where at the top level, they're constantly seeing where they are, and the analytic is on the call with a coach in the bench. You will find it everywhere. Every single bench has that one guy who's on call, who has an AirPod, who has something here, and there's like an iPad over there. I don't know if in that iPad they're watching replays or they're actually getting some things that the analytics sends them. Okay. But they're constantly talking, and that man tells him, you know what, we need to be 5 meters higher. And then he goes to the coach, and then the coach is like,
yeah. Okay.
So
and that's
how
the whole process, which is...
So every team has a person like you working behind to collect all the data.
Real-time data.
Yeah, real-time data.
Oh, not every top team is using it. They have a person like me who has the ability to take it and do it.
Okay.
But usually what happens is maybe Ancelotti doesn't take a lot of input because I think, his son is his assistant, right?
I have one question here. Like, is
not
the coaches are educated enough to trust this analytics process? Like, maybe this is new, this analytics process, and this suggestions from the analytics is new to the football. And is this in a stage like the coach or the players trust this analytics and this process?
So you're right about that, because actually Xavi said something against football analytics, right? And what he said was basically, he was like, I don't understand why we're going to a point where we're calculating everything the player does instead of running or going on the side, or because you don't know what I want him to do. And Erik ten Hag had 8 video analytics in Camp Nou when United beat Barcelona that day. In the Europa League 2 years ago. There's a photo that exists. There were 8 people with United polos or jerseys, and they were all in computers.
Only for that match. So probably Erik ten Hag was so engrossed that he said, you know what, you observe that, and you immediately tell me what's going on, because I want to make tweaks.
As well,
Is there any big team coach that still use the old school way? Like maybe Ancelotti, you said.
No, I don't think. I think Real Madrid. Old school way. You mean in terms of that?
Yeah, not using analytics and just
during the game, right?
Yes,
Like they don't trust the analytics. Like trust, or like they don't want to use it.
No. I don't think anyone is not using the analytics now, because what happens is now in clubs, the responsibility for playing the way they play is not on the coach anymore. Now every single top level club, which also as in India we need it, by the way, it's very important. Funny fact, Manchester United never had a sporting director. They only had a president and a coach. And these days there is a role in football, which is a sporting director, which is that person who decides how the team wants to play, and they make an identity. And he is constantly talking with the coach. And he's the one who actually is able to set up everything. And he's like, listen, I don't understand why you're still playing Vinicius when he loses the ball 60% of the time. Every time he has the ball.
So sporting director has the power to tell the coach.
Absolutely. He's the one who hires him.
Okay.
If, right? But in Real Madrid, obviously...
so is the sporting director of Chelsea? Because the coach changes.
Actually,
almost every season.
Zidane started off as a sporting director, Zidane, then he made it as the manager.
Okay.
The best example in terms of sporting directors, you can see, clubs like Brighton, clubs like Aston Villa. They have a sporting director who's constantly talking with the manager, and they're trying to play a money ball. And this is what it all is, basically. It is money ball, where they're trying to see, Vinicius, 60% times he loses the ball. But then Ancelotti is like, no, I don't care. The 40% time he keeps the ball, he keeps them in such places, and he's able to do such kind of things that I don't care. So maybe they're able to take a risk where he says, okay, Vinicius will lose the ball, I'll put Carvajal behind him. So Carvajal will recover the ball that Vinicius loses. So it depends on what the players and the analytics are all trying to set up. So that's fine.
So basically what you're saying is like, to sum up everything, football analytics has huge scope going to the future, like with the development of AI and stuff.
Massive. It already has. It already is. It exists. Like I'm pretty sure like these kind of small tweaks, based on how the team are between one of the we'll show that, we'll zoom it, how they are between how they are building up, and you see where most of the passes are. So if you see where most of the passes are, you can also see where most of the passes are not happening. So you can force the team to play there instead, and then you press them over there. And that's how you find out, like it's something that is
so I see, like when the players or the coach is getting real-time data like this, it's much efficient. They can make more precise decisions.
But how competitive is this field to get a proper job, make like a rewarding career? How rewarding is it?
You mean for me as a person, right? As an individual,
generally, like football analyst, how rewarding is the career for them, and how competitive is it to make it to the top level, or at least like get a stable job? Football analytics.
There is no stable job in sports coaching or in football analytics. The only stable job is if you work for a company like mine, then you have to do it for other people, and then you won't be paid well enough. As the
initially,
as the analytics of clubs are being paid, because you have the same level of ability as them, and when the benefit that you get from them is job security, right? But what they have over you is something which is extremely good. What they have over you is that level. They're there. That guy gets, you send the amount of running Ronaldo does, but he gets to show Ronaldo that on his iPad. He gets to have a relationship with him.
And he gets paid like $100,000.
No, I think in terms of zlotys, if we can use zlotys as a form of measuring currency, I don't think any analytic in top level in Europe or whatever is getting paid above 20 to 25,000. Their
like
coaches,
the top level analysts.
Because coaches are paid a lot less than the players, and the analytic itself is like an assistant of the coaching staff, because the analytic is supposed to actually just give a suggestion towards the things based off the data he sees. The coach is the one who's actually responsible for that decision. And the problem at top level is there's so much Chinese whisper going on that he gives the data about Vinicius to Ancelotti's son's assistant. Then that assistant goes to Ancelotti's son, and then Ancelotti's son probably goes to Ancelotti and suggests that. And in that meanwhile, if one person is not able to explain it better than the other, it gets lost in translation.
Got it. Nice to hear about that, because we've never thought about like what is this huge amount of scope that football analytics have.
And also if a coach gets sacked, his staff gets sacked too. So off goes the analytic as well.
So it's an entire team work.
These days I think coaches have their own staff and they sack the
we wish you good luck with that, Yousef.
Hope we will
see you in a good club.
Inshallah.
5 clubs in Europe.
Inshallah.
Now tell me the secret, Yousef, to you speaking 5-6 languages. So let's start with Polish.
So how many languages do you speak?
In general, I can have a conversation like this in 6 languages. But
which
to
one?
Survive? Of course, English, Polish, Hindi, Arabic, French, Portuguese,
Portuguese?
Yeah, because of the
Are you
players.
fluent in Portuguese?
Yes.
I think just as you listen to a language, you become fluent or something.
No.
Like I had a player, Portuguese player. Now I speak Portuguese.
I have seen him speaking. I have seen him speaking Arabic really well, Polish really well, and Italian little bit.
Yeah.
Now tell me the secret.
I think, okay, I don't know, it's probably that trait I have in my cerebral capacity that makes me more of a linguist than makes me more genetically based off language.
Okay.
Or maybe I hear accents better, or I'm able to speak them better.
But you didn't go for any classes or
No,
for Polish?
no. Polish, I only went till the compulsory university classes that we all know how they are. I mean, you've all studied in the Polish universities. The compulsory Polish classes that help nothing.
I've tried a couple of times, man. It's not for me.
They don't help at all.
Yeah.
They don't help at all.
Yeah.
I would suggest the best way to learn languages also, but some people will always use the Japanese reference. Is just
how does that work?
Like just watch something in that language and use the English subtitles if you're trying to spend your time that way. But that doesn't help a lot of people. But it helped me in the pandemic to learn all of these languages.
Tell us your secret. Don't hide from us. Yousef, you are hiding something.
I'm trying to see.
Figure out something.
I'm trying to figure out what it actually is. But, okay, so due to English, I am able to connect with all the other Latin languages. Because I speak English almost as a native. When I was young, I spoke English. So my network of Latin languages is very clear. Like responsabilidad in Spanish or Portuguese.
Okay.
And then maybe some kind of a technica in Polish and these kind of words. I think we also have it similar. But then I am also connected from a very young age to Arabic, which is a whole mother of language on its own. And then because I also spoke Hindi Urdu is my native tongue, which is also a sub branch of a whole different branch of that Sanskrit, right? Maybe that is something that helped me because at a very young age I had a Latin language, Arabic, and this Sanskrit based languages clear. So like in Malayalam, when you guys say, Vishesham or like Buddhi and like stuff like that.
We have some similar, I have a question. The Portuguese language in Brazil and Portugal, is it the same or?
No.
So which one did you learn? Portuguese from Portugal or from Brazil?
Unfortunately, I learned the one from Brazil.
Brazil.
And the only reason was from Brazil.
Because the first person I had to learn Portuguese for was Brazilian.
Okay. So we have some words which is similar to Portuguese words, like that came from Portugal in Kerala, like in Malayalam. So there's what do you say for table in Portuguese? Do you remember that?
Yeah, stolast.
So I heard that mesha is the word.
Mesha?
It is the same word in Portuguese. In Portugal they use mesha. So yeah, so when Vasco da Gama came,
he brought in along some words,
few words for us.
And they sticked in Kerala, right?
Kerala, Varanta, all these words.
That's one reason many like Spanish words and Arabic words, a lot of common words in Spanish and Arabic, When Andalus was under that's how they got many words like that, So word exchanges do happen.
Yep.
Ananas, ananas is ananas in Kerala or not? Is it ananas or not? Okay. What is it?
We call it pineapple.
Shit. So sorry, but so you also now have a separate word for pineapple, ananas.
Yeah. So do you know any Malayalam words? You have told me that you grew up with Malayalam friends in Saudi.
Yes.
How was it like growing up with them? Don't say any bad words.
I won't.
You have told me some bad words before.
You say anything, we'll beep it.
Yes. So growing up with in the start when I was young, growing up with a lot of my Malayali friends was when I didn't understand the language. For me, it was initially confusing, and I think like every discriminating North Indian, you tend to laugh the first time you hear
Malayalam.
Not laugh, but you tend to find it very funny at how fast it is.
Okay.
And how it sounds to you in your head, right? But when you actually get to know and you sit with them and you hear at a very basic and a very, on a very daily matter. When I hear all of my friends from Kerala, I won't say that word that we all use.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
I know that. Which word is that? Okay.
So all of my friends from Kerala, when they speak to their parents, for me, then it sounded very normal. Okay. And living with them, I think one thing I have to give a massive credit is, no matter where you go, if there are even 1, 3, 4 or even 10 Keralites, you will find a community together or with each other, or try to have a basis of I think you will try to have a very closeness with each other on the basis of your Keralite, the identity that you have as a Keralite, which is very specific than all the true. Other. Which is very specific than all the others. Yeah. And it's surprising how majority of you are very proud at it. I mean, I've also seen here a lot of Keralites who you don't know that, they will not even tell you that they're Keralites, and you will think that, they're roaming around, they're wearing all the different things. And, if their name is, I don't know, Ajay, it's like AJ.
So, yeah, sometimes it actually turns out into a curse because we don't actually go and talk with the foreigners because we have a community. That's what happens.
That's, I think, something that's holding you all back a lot, because you have each other so much, you actually don't need others. It's barely that a lot of Malayalis are able to go around on the side and make a whole new group of friends, because they are so comfortable and they resonate so much with the guys there around each other. Also your food, man, I love it. Yes. And I got close to Keralites more often because North Indian culture doesn't have a lot of football. So I wanted to play football. So the only way as an Indian I could play football a lot is to play with Keralites in the Kerala leagues and everything. So I think football got me a lot closer as well.
So you don't play cricket at all?
No, I used to play cricket as well. I used to play at a very good level. Cricket.
So you got into football from Saudi?
Yeah.
Okay. And you used to play cricket in UP?
No. In Saudi as well. I used to play. I was somehow, I don't know, I was captain of the school cricket team at the young age.
Okay.
Which is funny.
Okay.
I still played here as well for Warsaw Zalmi as a wicket keeper. Now I don't have the time, so.
Okay. So coming back to the language again, are you learning any new language?
I am trying to perfect a little bit of my Spanish now. Because I speak Portuguese is not that similar to Spanish, and I learned French because of my Erasmus.
Okay.
So trying to learn really a lot of Spanish these days.
So tell me this sentence in Portuguese. Malayalis are really good people.
Malayalis falam muito bom.
In Spanish.
In Spanish. I don't speak Spanish.
Let's try.
First the language.
Yeah.
No, he said he's trying perfect Spanish. So he knows the basic.
El uche Malayalis es muito bueno.
Arabic?
No, for Malayali أحسن يعني 100.
Polish.
Oh, okay. I have to, because when I speak Polish, there's always that one K word that comes automatically that I want to not say. Ludzi z Kerala, z Malayalam, oni są bardzo dobre ludzi. Są zajebiste, yeah.
Can you try French maybe? No, like a lot of football players speak French, right?
Yeah, they do, but I need to.
Malayali say très bien.
Yeah, très bien. I would say très bien, because French people, they like to add more emphasis. Say Malayali sont très bien. I don't know. Yeah.
Italian maybe. He knows Italian.
No, I see the Italian that you saw me speak that day.
That was some.
That
you
was
were talking about some pizza.
I was singing a song, an Italian song to that guy, and he started laughing because he was like, "How did you know the reference of this song?"
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
I wouldn't know in Italian because I'll say something stupid and then.
Anyway, like I just want to know, like
how you listen to Italian.
Yeah. Anyway, like Yousef.
No. If they use normal words, no. But if they use like common words. that all of us can, right?
Yousef, we all just want to know. We all just want to know, how old are you actually?
How am I?
How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 26. So
20, no one doesn't know below that. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest.
You can take my card,
he
man.
turned 26 this year. Yeah, just
yeah.
like a couple of months back or something.
Yeah. He knows because he has my CV, you know.
Okay.
All right.
So
And Yousef is also a TEDx speaker.
Oh, okay.
So tell me.
So
tell
is
us
there
more
a
about the
video
TED
of
Talks.
you on YouTube?
Yeah, there is
TEDx.
one.
But why
There
did you
is
remove
one.
it from your Instagram profile? You had it on Instagram profile.
Yeah,
Your TED Talk.
I
Then you
did.
removed it, I think.
Yeah, I think I removed it only because probably every single person who I meet these days who's trying to see my profile, if they click on it and they see
It's
it,
good, no?
I don't know, right? I don't want that the first thing for them to get to know me. That way.
But how did you get the opportunity to speak on?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to see a TEDx platform here in Warsaw. It was organized by a Bathory school, and my mother is an English teacher as well, so I always did speak publicly. So, and the opportunity was that actually I was failing a lot of subjects in engineering, and I had very low self-esteem.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something or the other, where I was like, in that summer I wanted to do something to look forward, because of my karta I had to stay here in that summer.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something or the other which involved beyond that. So I decided to do this talk, which was on future of friendships and social media. It was back in 2019.
Okay.
Where we were actually transitioning a lot.
Okay.
It was in Warsaw, right?
In Warsaw, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like anyone can apply and they get to speak, or
for
how
TEDx,
does it work?
For TEDx, anyone can apply, and then you give them a content of your speech, and if they like it, they will then they will call you for a mock, or they will ask you to do a video mock,
Okay.
and then they'll finalize it. They'll be like, you can
So you
speak
actually
for us.
prepare the content and just share it with them.
Yeah, I prepared a PDF document of the content. I shared it with them.
Just share the video link with us, okay?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much.
It's available on TED. You type Yousef Khan,
Yeah.
Okay.
TEDx.
Thank
It
you.
comes.
So
Let's simplify by giving the link.
Yeah.
yeah, why not? So I want to ask you guys,
Yeah.
in normal sense.
Now
like
the
one by
questions
one.
are redirected.
Yeah.
No, because I'm curious one by one. By 3 points. What do you think you would like to see a change in Indian football? As someone from the as a fan perspective, what would you like to see in Indian football?
So I can start, okay? My answer is we have to change the system. Like it's still the same. Like how we had it in 80s or 90s, it is still the same. There is nothing changing. There is politics. There is too much politics is still involved in Indian football. You told us that the board is kind of like business. So that's still happening. And if any politician don't like a singular player or a specific player, he can remove him. He doesn't care about how well the guy plays or anything like that. So we still have that kind of things going. And if we check it deep, there should be caste, religion, all things must be going on. Like that's why Indian football is not growing. That's what I think.
You're right.
So a lot of things need to change. The main thing is the system.
Yeah. And the love for football by
Yeah,
the
the
fans.
love for
Because,
football,
usually if you look at the legends, there was once an instance like I am Vijayan. He played for the Indian team. He's from Kerala. And I saw one picture of him during the Kerala Blasters game. He was in the stadium along with the fans. He did not get any like VIP lounge or anything like that. But then you have the actors and like the new gen superstars who are sitting in the VIP lounge, and the Indian football legend, he's sitting along with the fans. Yeah, so that really shows what kind of respect.
Vijayan is.
Yeah, so that's the kind of respect that is given to the players, and pretty much there's no benefit, I guess, after like they retire and stuff. So
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
What the young emerging players are seeing when the players who had been there in the position, yeah. So when they see it's not motivating actually.
I mean, if I am Vijayan would get a position in the football structure of the country,
Yes,
you know,
because he made it to the top,
Yeah.
and how he is treated. And this is demotivating, yeah.
Also, some youngsters have someone to look up to,
Also,
by seeing all this.
veterans has to come on the board. That's the important
Players,
thing.
players, yeah.
Not politicians.
Not politicians,
Players.
veterans. So I think Germany has that system, right? Oliver Kahn is on board.
Yeah, they have that. But that's, you said that really well. Not politicians, but players should be there. Someone who understands, someone who's played the game,
who know the game. Yeah.
someone who knows what we need, someone who knows what we lack, right? Who was there, who didn't get, so he knows what I can give to the others. And what about you? Because you said
definitely about the politics things, and also I've seen that people playing not like 11 versus 11, but generally on our like areas that we have, 6s and 5s.
That needs to
like,
change.
which is like very rough and tough. That they just want to beat the other player.
I've seen
Not
some
to
of the
score
videos,
goal, but they just want to beat the player.
But I've also seen in Kerala, you pay a lot of Africans and other providers to come and play.
Almost
a lot of
$100.
money. You play them. You bring Africans and you bring them from others to just play for those small tournaments as well.
We offer visas, we offer stay.
Yeah. It's a kind of emotion, but however, as I said, that it's a kind of rough and tough game, which I think definitely should be changed. And
but why is it rough and tough? Because there's no federation on it. There's nobody controlling.
There
is federation, but
those games are AIFF backed.
Not AIF.
Not AIF.
There is all Kerala Sevens Football Federation.
And they need to work with AIFF. If AIFF control,
I don't think they are working with AIFF.
I think that there was some clashes between two
sevens,
something like that. But people like sevens because it is.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, and and this like foreigners, one team can only have 2 foreigners. There are the rules like that.
In the official game, you
mean? In the official game. Okay. You cannot have more than 2 players.
Yeah.
2 foreign players,
We can wind up,
sure.
So, we wish you good luck, Yousef.
Thank you so much.
Lots of perspectives gained. Like, we didn't know that this much amount of scope existed for football analytics.
Truly.
We can have another episode, inshallah.
Of course.
Yeah, sure. If you want to deep dive into how, Indians can come and do it in detail, how they can do it, or we can.
And if anyone has more doubts, they can reach out to Yousef's Instagram profile. Maybe.
Why not?
We'll tag him in the reel section. Yeah. So thank you so much, Yousef.
No, thank you so
much.
Insightful. Really, I
thanks for joining us.
What you're doing for the community as well, for people who are able to just listen, observe. You're bringing guys, someone like me, and I'm pretty sure they're not doing this for money, and I know it firsthand. They're actually losing a lot while doing this, but it's content for all of you guys. So it's whatever they're doing is really just for the betterment of the community and to bring more awareness, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys.
See you then. Bye.